All right, so there is our problem. And let's see if we get it to come out right this time, since we halfway know what we're doing now. If the base is between is between 0 and 1, meaning like a wrench. Y'all know what a wrench is, right? Yes. So it's a proper fraction. 1/2, 9/16, 5/8, 3/4, 11/16, all 7/8, 15/16, and that's it. All proper fractions. If the base is a proper fraction, and we need to highlight that in red because, like I said, I've been teaching for 25 years and I never remembered that one. So we learn something new every day. If the base is between 0 and 1, then you have to flip the inequality before you even start. So we get, and this is 1/2 to the 2x power less than, we're going to flip it because 1/2 to the 4 times x plus 3 power. And now we can solve it. So 2x is greater than 4 times x plus 3. And now, but I knew something was wrong when you solved it and you got the same answer. So at least I told y'all something was wrong. And I said there must be a law that I've forgotten, but I didn't forget this law. I just never knew it. I don't know which is worse, forgetting it or never knowing it. 2x greater than 4x plus what? 12. And I'm going to bring this 2x over because I keep the variable positive. And then this comes over here, negative 12. And that's going to be 2x. X is less than what? Negative 6.
Great. And
that's our answer. Now we'll go ahead, just to remind you, we always do what with an inequality? We always plot it on a number line. 0, 6, negative 6. And that's going to be an open circle. And what is less than negative 6?
Negative 7.
Okay, left or right? Left, Hubert.
Left. That's right.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And our set builder notation, hold your pinky up. You put x such that, and then you put the answer in. What's the answer? X is less than negative 6. That's set builder notation. And interval notation you read from left to right. So where is our solution set? Negative infinity to what? Negative 6. Both are exclusive. Okay, so we remembered a rule that none of y'all remembered, and I didn't remember. So, and that rule is, if the base is a proper fraction, you have to flip the inequality before you even start. How about it, Pendleton? Did y'all remember that?
I've never heard of it.
I've never heard. How about it, Coney?
Nope, never heard of it either.
That's odd.
It's the government.
It is. It's a government conspiracy.
They changed it this year.
Yeah, they did.
I always Pepsi.
Or it's time travel. It's the
Yeah, that's what it is.
theory.
All right. Now, this is very important. Remember me telling you about the continuous, well, not the continuous, but the compound interest? There's compound interest. Now, I'm going to give it, there it is right there. Is this important for you no matter what you learn in here? Yes. Because all the banks use this or a derivation of it for your savings accounts, IRAs, 401ks, anything having to do with you saving money, this is compound interest. And it is an exponential term. A is the principal. Let's see, before I have to write all this, they should tell you that A is the principal. Okay, I'll go back. They don't tell you what it is. I'll tell you after y'all get through writing. Now, is the secret to this doing the math or knowing how to do the math on your calculator? Knowing how to do the math on the calculator. Because some of y'all could break an anvil with a banana with your calculator.
So we break the anvil with the banana with the calculator?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, is the calculator the hammer in this
I don't know.
scenario?
Just work with me and don't say nothing, okay? You could break an anvil with your calculator. In other words, y'all can take something simple with y'all's calculator and what? Screw it up.
Oh.
So it's very important. 90% of these problems, these right here, they're standardized. You will see this on a standardized test, is how you type it in the calculator. And what is parentheses? Work your way inside what?
First.
Inside out. Y'all never heard of work your way inside out?
Nope.
It's y'all's parents' fault.
Yep.
There's a whole category on Jeopardy the other night. Idioms. Y'all need to learn them.
States.
Because your parents have not taught y'all proper idioms. Anyway. All right, so P is the principal. Principal, I guess AL. I don't know. I think it's AL, even though the principal is the principal of your school. I think principal here is principal AL. But I don't care. It's the principal. What you're putting into the bank. So let's say you got a $5,000 check and you want to save it. So $5,000 would be the principal. So write that down. Principal. What you're putting in the bank. A is what you're getting out of the bank. Now, in savings accounts, IRAs, all that good stuff, what should you get back
Interest.
from the bank if you plug in $5,000?
More than 5,000.
You should get more. Don't be like the students that one of my first semesters, I said $5,000, you put it through compound interest, you come out with more or less at the end of 5 years. Out of 30 students, I had 15 say less.
Did you hang?
And I said savings account. No clue whatsoever. Anyway, I quit answering that question because it just pissed me off. So anyway, if I had $5,000, the $5,000 would go with the P. P is equal to $5,000. That's what you're going to put in. R is equal to the rate. Now, you don't put percentages in formulas. What do you change percentage to?
Decimals.
You change percentage to a decimal. So that's the first thing you do. No coughing in class. And is how many times, number of times, compounded. What does compounded mean? Compounded is another word for calculated. Okay? The bank has a computer sitting at the back of in the vault, and that computer, every so many, months or so many years or so many days, it calculates your interest on your savings account. Here you need to know words. One time a year is called what? Yearly or annually. I'm not annually, I'm just going to put ANN. You can write it out, I'm running out of space. What about 2? Semi what? Semi-annually. What about 4?
Quarterly.
Quarterly. How about 12?
I give up.
Monthly. And then 365
8.
daily, which nobody does that anymore. Okay? So you got to know those words. What is T? T is the one that gets everybody. T, the number of what? Years, and I'm going to put underline, I'm going to put stars, and I'm going to put check marks. Why? Because what if I give you 6 months? What if I tell you $5,000 is 0.5 years? That's what gets everybody, and that's what you get questioned on your standardized test. So 6 months would equal whatever, MTH or whatever, Okay, 6 months would be 1/2 or 0.5 years. And of course, after that, what's 1? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 10 years, or 20 years. Okay, so you got to know all that, and then you got to know how to punch it in your calculator. And it's very simple. Okay, so I want you to write down the next problem. $1,000 is invested at an annual 1.5% compounded what? Quarterly. So N is equal to 4, and T is equal to what? 10. Plug it into the formula, then get your calculators out. Those of you that have phones, use your calculator, just turn it sideways for scientific. And believe me, y'all have phones, because y'all have withdrawals if you don't have your phone.
I'm not bringing today.
Start walking around, slobbering all over yourself, because you don't have a phone. I'm going to get out of this right quick so I can pull up the handy-dandy calculator so I can show y'all how easy this is. And that way you'll feel bad if you screw it up. Right? So I have some things to show you, some fun things. Y'all know the cat meme?
Which one?
The one with the white cat sitting at the table?
Oh, yeah.
I made up some. I'll have to show them to you.
What's that guy's name?
His name is Smudge. There's one. Pendleton. Pendleton. This one says Fountain, Mount Ann. Mountain, fountain. Y'all ever heard somebody say that? There's a fountain on Mount Ann. You had never heard that? There are people that says Fountain and Mount Ann. You heard somebody say it like that?
Look at him funny.
Brown.
Also, theater.
Ooh, I just remembered one. Dog and dog.
Dow.
It's a dog.
Dog is them dogs down there that won this Honey Path. Those transplants, they go, where are you from? I'm from Honey Path. Honey Path. That's Honey Path. I made up some.
Yay.
I'm going to do dog and dog. Dog and dog. I have a dog at home. Dog. Dog. And then I'm gonna put the OIL. I'm gonna put the OIL on there, but I can't figure out how to get the nasal OIL. I can't figure out how to show that on the oil. I would like a quart of oil, please. Okay, I showed y'all my amusement for today. I was bored this morning, so I did that. Okay, here we go. Here we go. All right, so I'm gonna plug in 0.015 divided by 4. I'm going to do that first. So I'm going to go 0.014 or 15 divided by 4 and hit enter. Now, somebody tell me what I'm going to do with that. I'm going to add what? And this is the exact way you're supposed to do it. Enter. You don't have to write anything down. Now, you're going to raise it. Now, I think most of us can handle 4 times 10. Okay? I think 4 times 10 is equal to 40. So I'm going to raise that, hit the caret symbol. Some of you that's using your phones, it'll be the X to the Y. And then type in 40. Enter. And then multiply that by what?
1,000.
And that's how you do it. I didn't write down a single number. Now somebody tell me what that extra money is called.
Interest.
161.51. What is that called?
Interest.
So if they ask you what is the interest, you don't say 1161.51.
Subtract 1,000.
The interest is what is over the principal. You put in $1,000. That's your money. Okay? Now, what did they do with it while it was in the bank? Oh, well, they invested it on paper and probably made $2,000 off of it. That's what the banks and insurance companies do with your money. A lot of people don't know that. They think it sits in a little box in a vault. No, it doesn't. They take that money and they invest it 3 or 4 different ways. That's why they are bonded for $250,000 on each one of the accounts. So if you put $250,000 in an account and they invest it and they lose it, they'll put $250,000 back in your account. But they usually hit those markets that once you put $250,000 in, it won't let you go below what? 250. It'll sell off before it. So they do that safe trading thing. All right? But they'll take $250,000 and they'll turn it into $500,000 and they'll put it in the bank's pocket. As long as you got your $250,000 plus your interest, you're not going to say anything.
That's why Mary Poppins
Oh, they're wrong
is
for
such
that.
distress.
I bet you didn't even know that, did you?
No. They're wrong.
You ought to take my 103 and find out how much you pay for a car and a house.
Like 8.
I don't know. My dad was like,
about that.
let me
Yeah.
tell you about
You
Matt.
buy a $5,000 car, you pay $10,000 if you buy it through a bank, payments. That's why the car salesman, listen, I love you. You my best friend. I want to get, what's the lowest payment you can get? Oh, I can pay $100 a month, then we'll get you set in that car for $100 a month, and you're going to pay $55. You're going to pay $10,500 instead of $10,000 for that $5,000 car. That's why when you buy a car or a house, you always say, okay, I want to pay the highest payment I can without going into debt. You don't want to pay $100 or $200. You want to pay a $500 payment on a $300 car. Why? Because you pay it off what? Quicker. That way the interest is not eating you up. What?
You said pay $500 on the $300.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah, I
about.
know what you mean.
All right. Anyway, take my 103. You'll learn a lot in that business section. In fact, I expand that business section and go over more because there's so many people that get out of high school and they don't know they're back in from a hole in the ground.
There needs to be like a life skills class.
What?
That's crazy.
And then
I never knew that.
my
That's
dad
wild.
sat me down and told me that when I was like 7.
Mhm.
And then I was like,
I was so
so
scared.
is that why in Mary Poppins the bank closes?
Yeah. That's it.
I'm,
And during the Depression, they lost all that money because the stock market crashed. And that's why a lot of people were hiding money in their jars and buried them outside. My great-great-great-grandfather somewhere buried gold under the double bridges out there because that's where my family is from, called Deep Creek. And he threw himself in the river because he couldn't find it. He committed suicide. So that's where, but that was a long, long time ago. That was right after the war between the states. But anyway, make a long story short, look, there's your interest. 161.51.
This is gonna make me sound so dumb.
What?
But I just realized that now. I mean, I've learned about the stock market crash in
Mhm.
school, but I ain't know.
Yeah, that's
I was like,
exactly why.
Don't people have money in the bank? Like,
Yeah, but it was gone.
But I didn't understand the correlation. I didn't
Y'all ever
understand
seen the
connection.
movie Trading Places?
Nope.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Your
Oh
parents'
my
fault.
gosh. I was always thinking, I was like, they still got money in their bank. Like,
Now,
they,
Continuous interest is based on E,
It's pert.
PERT. A is equal to PERT.
It's like, they gotta see.
There it is, write that down. That's continuous. Do you need to know that for real life? Yes.
I got a question.
hmm
How was there a stock market? Isn't there always money? So like, how did that like?
Well, everything is generated at the stock market. In other words, all businesses, all commodities, all products is regulated through the stock market. Whether you go through the NASDAQ, which is the Japanese stock market, or the Nikkei, or the Wall Street, it doesn't matter. Everything, that's how everything is regulated as far as prices go. And when that crashed, all that money, people's stocks crashed. And that's why the banks crashed. It's a domino effect.
Oh, okay. Can they have gone to
It's kind of like this.
ATM?
Who do you work? Where do you work?
I work at
What?
Cookout.
Okay, what if Cookout went out of business tomorrow?
They just went out of business.
No, what if they called bankruptcy and closed all their stores? What would you
Go
do?
get my check.
Yeah, but what would you do after that?
Go find another job.
Why? It's a chain effect. So you would have to go get another job, and you would have to go somewhere else. Just like if the stock market, think of the stock market as the employee for just about every there is. Okay? And if the stock market crashes, I'm sorry, the banks crash. If the banks crash, the companies crash. If the companies crash, you ain't got no job, and you end up in a ditch, in a box, down by the river.
Eating a steady diet of government.
What
Yep.
if you own a house though?
Government, G-U-V-M-E-N-T, that's two different. Government and government, that's two different things. All right, here we go. So, suppose $1,000 is deposited in an account paying 1.5. So run this through. It's the same thing, except you don't have N, because it's continuously compound interest. So you type it in. There you go. So is there much difference? No. But E is a whole lot easier to calculate than R over N times the NT power. See? It's a simpler calculation. So write that down. Because that's a couple of questions on the test. I will ask those on the
So can we
test.
use this instead of the one?
Yes, but it's the question will ask you right here. It'll say compounded or compounded what? Okay, the first one we did was compounded. The second one is compounded continuously. Now make sure you know how to type in E. So go ahead and learn how to type in E on your calculator. Second natural log, I think. Somebody check me.
I found it.
Is it natural log? Second natural log. So you would type in 1,000
Well, that's E.
times second E to the 0.15 and then enter. So you would type in 1,000 times second E, which is second natural log, and then it's going to have parentheses. You type in 0.15, close parentheses, and then enter. And it should give you about the same thing, 1161.83. Those are two good questions for the test. And of course, which one gave you more money? About 32 cents if you continuously. Now, what if that was $250,000? Then I think I would go with continuous, because it'd be a whole lot bigger difference. Okay, I'm not going to go through this. You can do that on a calculator. You can find 1,000. Okay, you can find after 10 years, after 11 years, 12 years. That's up to you. Okay, I think most of y'all know how to type it in. Okay. There's another one. The chances of dying from heart disease increase potentially after 40. Okay? F of X is equal to R, and R is the risk in decimal form. 1.11 to the X. X is the number of years after 40. So dang old mine would be 13. Now I don't know how you get to R. What does the R say? Compare the risk at age 75.
I think it's the graph.
They're going to have to give you something. Okay, so they just, that's the number. You're finding the multiplier. What's the multiplier? I don't know what R is. I guess they're going to give you. So my multiplier would be 13. Let's see. That would be, what did they do? They subtracted, so that'd be 13. So I'm looking to see where they're, okay. So that'd be 1.11 to the 13th power. What is that? Somebody tell me what that is. 1.13.
3.88.
I'm sorry, what?
3.8.
So I'm going to be dead tomorrow. No. 3.88. Okay?
Well,
Yeah. Nice knowing y'all. And that's 6.2.
Hooray.
So let's move on to 6.3. Now, we haven't got to the majority of the test questions. So far, you've got about 5 questions that we've went over. There's the graphing. There's the algebraic, finding the inverse. There's the horizontal line test, 1-to-1. And then there's these problems that we're doing here. And you will see an exponential, probably Not like that one, because that one's kind of tricky. One like that one, maybe? Or one like that one? Sorry. One like that one? Okay, and you're also going to see these in 6.5 and 6.6 when we're solving logarithmic equations. You're going to see this again. So 6.3. 6.3, there we go. 18 minutes, of course. Gotta love these Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes.
We ain't got enough time, we should just put it off.
Yeah.
Good idea.
6.3, inverse exponential and logarithms. Here we go. We're fixing to get into logarithms. And y'all should be you should be on 6.2 homework right now, for those that's putting it off to the last minute. All right, so here we go. Slideshow and, all right. Here is the definition. I've already told you this, but I'm going to highlight it again. It's the very first rule on your card that I told you to copy down. This is called the definition of a what?
Logarithm.
Of a logarithm. I can write a logarithm as an exponent, or I can write an exponent as a what?
Log.
So make sure you know how to do that. Now these first few slides are going to be nothing but changing from a exponent to a log, and from a log to an exponent. So you might want to write these down, because they're going to be very, very important for you not sucking at logarithms. Because this is where you're going to suck at logarithms. Because you're talking about the definition of logarithm, and you're talking about solving logarithmic equations. If you don't know the definition of a logarithm, those two sections of test questions, you're going to flunk. Because the other is rewriting. So, I'm just going to, that A right there, this A, I'm going to highlight it yellow. That's very important. That's called the base. The base is basically going to be your most important, because the X and the Y, that's pretty self-explanatory. All right? So they're going to show us one probably on the next slide. There they are. So make sure you write them down. If I have 2 to the 3rd power, that's an exponent. So I can rewrite that using the definition of a logarithm. See, that's A. That's A right here. A. There's my A.
A equals.
I'm just.
You can do a circle, you start with the 2.
No, I hit this daggum highlighter 3 times, but evidently it just does it when it wants to. Okay, there's my base. My base is going to go right there. And then this is Y. Y goes right there. And then this is X. That's X. Or Y. Y to the A is equal, X is equal to that. And Y is 3. Thank you. A to the Y. I'm going backwards. Same thing here. I've got a exponent. I'm going to change it to a logarithm. And I can go from a logarithm to a what? An exponent. Make sure you can go left to right and right to left. And you shouldn't, if it takes you 15 minutes to look it up, and then that's too long. You need to be able to go from left to right and right to left. Of course, anything to the 0 power is what? 1. But this right here, you don't memorize this. You memorize this because anything to the 0 power is 1. That's pretty simple. But that 3/4, log base 3/4 of 1 is equal to 0. The log of 1 doesn't matter. That's a property that's on that sheet. Log base any number of 1 is equal to 0. Okay, so it doesn't matter what the base is. Log of 1 is always 0. So that's where that comes from. So there's 8 questions right there I could give you. 4 right here, going from left to right, and 4 right here, going right to left. And of course, they're probably going to ask a couple more. If not, y'all send them in work. Here we go. Now, what does the definition of logarithm say? It says a to the y is equal to what? X. That yields what? Y is equal to log base a of x, right? So always write that down, or until you memorize it, always write it down, just in case. Because if you get some negatives, or if you get some fractions, or if you get something that doesn't look right, you might forget, where to put it. So here, I've got a log, so I write y is equal to log base a of x, and that yields, since I've already got it this way, I'm going to write it as a what? A to the y is equal to x. So, first thing I want is a. What is a?
8.
8 to the what?
X.
To the x is equal to 4. Hey, I could write this. No, I can't. I was thinking of, I can.
Yeah,
2 to the third raised to the x power is equal to 2 to the what? 2 to the 3x is equal to 2 to the second. 3x is equal to 2. X is equal to 2/3. That is a test question. Love that one. Because you're going to be doing that with solving logarithmic equations. So that is a test question. Same thing over here. I've got log base a of x is equal to what? Y. And that's going to be a to the y is equal to x. So what's my a? X, Hubert. That's right, class. X. What's my y?
4.
So the fourth is equal to what? What's the fourth root? Both sides. X is equal to what?
2.
I like that one better than the previous ones. All right, y'all do C. Now, how many of these do you need to do? Probably 200-300. Because if you can do these, then you're well on your way to acing this test. If you put these off and wait until the night before the homework is due, you're going to fail the test.
I like it.
But that's I'm sorry, that's called raising the bar and work. Yeah. So I don't know. Some of y'all may not want to do that because Bernie will take care of you.
Hello.
Elizabeth Warren looks like she's having a seizure whenever she gets on stage. That woman's crazy. At least Bernie's just cantankerous. Well, Elizabeth Warren, she's crazy. And Joe, he don't even know what planet he's on.
Candace Owens.
Oh gosh, she's gonna run one day. I hope she does. She's gonna be in Atlanta, November the 10th. What's November the 10th? Like the old Marine Corps birthday. She's gonna be in Buckhead. I'd love to go see her.
Do you watch like the Army versus Marine Corps like football games?
There isn't no Marine Corps. You know why there's not a Marine Corps football team? They kill everybody.
Is there a hockey team?
Nope.
Because they destroy everybody.
Look at what Battery Creek ROTC does to all the surrounding ROTCs. All right. Some of y'all have no idea what I'm talking about. All right. So here we go. Log base A of x is equal to y. So that's going to give me, what's my base? My base is what? 4 to the y. What's my y? 3 halves is equal to
8.
x. Now what is a rational exponent? Exponent over what? Index? Exponent over index. So that's the square root of 4 to the what? 3rd power. And what's the square root of 4? 2, Hubert. 2 to the third is
8.
8. Those are 3 dang good test questions. Now that's one of my favorite slides out of this whole day. This is my favorite slide because it's got everything. When I give you 3 to 5 of these questions right here, what am I asking you? Or what am I'm ascertaining whether you're going to suck on this test. Basically, if I give you these 3 questions on the first page of a test, y'all know those things that we used to do, archaic days, bring a test in and give it to you and y'all sit in the room and take it.
Yeah.
If I was to do that, I would give you those first 3 questions and I'd look at it and then I'd say, okay, you're going to fail, you're not, you're going to fail, you're not. Because if you don't know those 3, if you don't know that definition up there by heart and go left to right, right to left, then chances are you're not going to know 6.5 and 6.6. I hate to be brutally honest with y'all. I know that some of y'all can't handle it, but not everybody gets a trophy.
I'm ready to do it.
All right, so there's the answers. Let's see if we did it right. 2/3. We got that one right. 2 and 8.
Yay.
All right, for all positive numbers, log base, what they're saying here, there's 2 logarithms. How many minutes we got in the 15-minute class? Huh?
7.
All right, there's two buttons on your calculator. Find them. One of them is log, and that is how it's pronounced. People don't say log, they say log. A teacher usually says log because that means you're going to take log base 10. Log base 10. There's only 2 buttons on your calculator, so therefore there's only 2 ways that you can calculate a natural log or a log, and that's ln and log. ln is equal to log base e. If you have any other log base 5, log base 8, log base -2, which you can't, log base 1/2, you can't calculate it unless it's either written where you can change it with the definition of logarithm, or it's written to where you can put it in the change base formula. Change base formula is on that sheet. Okay? I don't know if we're going to go to it next or not. I think it's not in this section. But the only 2 ways to mathematically calculate a logarithm is by those 2 keys. If you don't have, and usually if this is not here, it's assumed to be, let's write that down. If not present, meaning i.e. log, and there's nothing present in a question, it's assumed to be what? 10.
10.
Okay, kind of like the square root symbol, it's assumed to be a 2 in the front. Kind of like any variable, it's assumed there's a 1 there. Okay, so if you have log of 10, if you have log of 2 on a test, that's really supposed to be a 10 right there. And of course, log of 2, you can do that on a calculator. Natural log of 2, you can do that on a calculator. But log base 5 of 2, you can't do on a calculator. Now let's see where they're going with this. Either they're going to the calculator or they're going to change base formula. They're going to the calculator. So I'm not going to do these. I think y'all can do them on a calculator. Go ahead and punch in all 3 right quick. Now that 3/5, I would do log parentheses 3 divided by 5 close parentheses. So do those and make sure you can get them. You might see one of these on the test, just so I can make sure y'all know how to use a calculator. Oops.
Isn't when you put like log something divided by something else, it's like equivalent to log
That's change base.
minus?
Yeah. We're going to get there. That's rewriting. We're going to do all that. Right now we're just studying the logs. 6.3 is crawling. We're crawling right now. 6.4, 6.5, 6.6, we're walking. Everybody with me?
Will we ever run?
No, you're all going to fall flat on your face.
I can't sit down.
All of you will end up in a ditch. in a box
Down by the river.
down by the river. Y'all ever seen, what's his name?
The guy on SNL,
Chris Farley?
Yeah.
when they find the
He
pot
fell on a table and.
Yeah.
and they break the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of y'all don't because your parents didn't let you watch the SNL.
Big break.
And your parents didn't teach y'all any idioms either. Okay, I'm not going to go through this because we can go through this in the homework. This is kind of like the compound interest plug and chug. I really don't think that's important right now. That here they give you, we'll go over that later, okay? Just remind me to send me one of these in the homework and we'll go over it then. Okay, I'm not going to go over it right now.
Oh, I remember that. 2 minutes.
Okay, 10 minutes?
2.
2. All right, let me finish this one. And this is where we're going to leave off, so y'all need to write a line under these notes. This is log base E. So, there it is.
Hey.
Natural log is equal to log base E. So make sure you can take the natural log of those. Now, what these two slides are telling you is if you're going to use your calculator, you can only use it with log and natural log. Log base 5, log base 1/2, you're going to have to do something else. So what they're telling you, if you get one like this, or get one like this, or get one 3/4 of 1/2, these cannot be done on a calculator because the base either has to be a 10 or what? An E. And that's what they're trying to get you to do. And yes, there will be 2 questions on the test, 1 or 2, if you can take the natural log of something on your calculator, and if you can take the log. That's only 2 questions. Okay, so, hopefully y'all know what to do there. I want to see what's next, just to see. Because they're probably going to go into rewriting. Let's see, properties, I already showed you those. There's where we need to start next. That's where you rewrite, like you're talking about. All right, remember, write that down. Start with rewrite. Y'all have a good day, and I'll see y'all Wednesday. Capiche?